drove past some Halloween stuff today, and you guys, you want to chime in on it, you can. And if not, alhamdulillah, you can still sit there and be quiet. That's okay too, mashallah. But I drove past some signs today about Halloween, talking about churches that are advertising for these events that they're having called quote-unquote trunk or treat. Trunk or treat. And basically what trunk or treat is you go to these places and you pick up candy with your kids from the trunks of people's cars, and you dress up like spooks and boogers, and you go over there and you get your candy. Well, that's haram. That's haram. There's no way about it. That's haram. And the fact that these so-called Christians are celebrating these things, that when I was growing up, my great-grandmother, she would roll over in her grave. She would roll over in her grave if we tried to take kids trunk or treating or hayride festivaling or whatever the case may be. Yes, it's from churches. Fatima says, yes, it's from churches too. And these are supposed to be God-fearing people. But this shows you just how far down the rabbit hole that mainstream Christianity. I'm sure that there are still people of the book out there. Allah knows best. He talks about it in the Quran. And there are people of the book out there, and there are brethren, and we should support them and try to defend them at all costs. You know what I'm saying? But we're talking about the majority of these churches around here, Protestant, the Catholics. It don't matter. They're marrying the homosexuals. They're having these events. They're having all these events out in the open now, where it's no big deal. Trunk or treat. Dress your kids up like spooks and boogers and bring them over here and get treats out of the trunk of my car. That's a bit weird if you ask me. It's kind of like Christmas. You don't want to take your kid to sit on some old fat man's lap with a beard who's dressed up in a costume and tell them what kind of prizes you want. That's not something I'm going to take my kids to do. Sorry, not sorry, but I just can't get behind that. It seems a bit, not okay. So let's see. Fatima said, when I was a Christian, I got a little pop up here. Stupid. Alright, hold on. Fatima said, when I was a Christian, I never questioned it like I didn't question everything else. But I think it's common sense. Don't celebrate the devil's holidays. Yeah, my kids, I got them on video. We'll be riding down the road and they'll see Halloween decorations all through the yards. And you know what they say? Alhamdulillah, they say this. They start hollering, Haram, Haram. It's like a game we play now. My 6-year-old, she made up a song for it, and she'll sing the verse, "What do you say when we see Halloween?" And then the rest of it say, Haram, Haram. So, by the way, that's a nasheed that is instrument free, so it is definitely not haram. But the point is that that's the way that I want my kids to be raised, man. I want them to know boundaries. I want them to know that, this world is a playground for the Shayton, and that we have to keep our common sense and we have to keep ourselves reserved, because we're going to have to answer one day to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when we stand in front of Him. And, these people out here that have these big channels, like Sheikh Uthman and Muslim Cowboy and a few of the other ones that you brothers and sisters have mentioned on my channel before, Maliki Click and all them, inshallah, they're out there talking about it too. I don't like having to click on, like for example, Maliki Click. I don't like having to click on his channel and then see him having to defend against somebody claiming that he's a Sufi, because he's spending valuable airtime that he could be talking about these types of things. So, the dawah is good. And obviously you want to reach as many people as you can and try to bring them to the fold of Islam and submitting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all areas of their life. But at the same time, these are things that need to be talked about. These are current day events that we need to be talking about. We need to be talking about them with our kids. We need to be talking about them with our neighbors. We need to be talking about them with our co-workers. We need to be discussing them, point blank period, with our family. If you are a revert, you can still talk about these things with your family. Doesn't mean that they're going to agree with everything you've got to say, and you're definitely not going to agree with everything they have to say, but you can talk about things in a respectful way. you know. And if they shut you down, alhamdulillah, they just shut you down, you know. We as Muslims, like, we believe that when you choose disbelief, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will increase you in your disbelief. When you choose belief, Allah will increase you in your belief. So that's an active choice that they're going to have to make of their own accord. But we need to be talking about them nonetheless, brothers and sisters.